making the assumption of want and not want. Want is
Yeah,
not
you
even
either
in the
want to say it
discussion.
or it's not the case that you want to say it. And I'm saying it's not the case that you want to say it, right? That's what I'm saying. So it's either the case that you want to say it or it's not the case that you want to say it. Which is it?
No, I'm saying it's neither the case that I want nor want not. You do agree that the parents are not the author of his murderous
I know how to
action.
No, I don't know what that term means. So I don't agree because I don't know what that term means.
I know the reason.
Right.
Look, the reason that John Lee is having this problem is because he doesn't want to say cause because he thinks cause implies some sort of responsibility,
accountability.
Not
right?
at all.
Yeah,
God is
but
the primary cause, sir.
Oh, there we go.
I'm saying that responsibility and accountability falls
you're
on the
saying that he doesn't
secondary
cause the event.
causes
Yeah, you're saying
because
you're
there
saying
is
that he doesn't
agency in
cause
the secondary
evil.
causes.
You're saying that
And
he
so now
doesn't
you're
cause
misrepresenting
evil.
me. You're simply
You're saying that
misrepresenting
God
me.
doesn't cause.
At
You
no
said that
point,
God doesn't cause evil.
at no
Does God
point
cause
did I
evil?
say that responsibility falls on the causes. I'm acknowledging that the primary cause is God, right?
So God causes
But not.
evil?
No, sir. I did not
Okay,
say
so that's
God
why I
causes
said when
evil.
I said you don't want to say that God causes evil, the reason that you don't want to say that is because you think that saying God causes evil implies God is responsible for evil.
That would naturally follow.
Yeah, that's okay.
Right,
So
no,
everything I said was correct. When you said I was not addressing what you said, I was actually representing what you were saying. You're just too stupid
No, you're
to
not
fucking
representing
understand
it. Yeah, and
I
so
just
if
said
it's
you
the
just
case,
signed off on it, you stupid fuck. What the fuck is the
yeah,
matter with you?
so it is the case. It is the case that God does not cause evil, but He causes
John, you fucked up again
conditions
too, by the way.
by which evil is caused.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
he's the
So the
primary
reason
cause,
that you
but he
don't want
doesn't
to
cause
say,
evil.
right, so the reason that you don't want to say, which is what I already said, that God causes evil is because you think that that implies that God is responsible
Yeah,
for evil, and you're
and so
saying
that would be
God
wrong.
is not accountable to
It's
evil.
not a
That's what you're
matter of
saying. Yeah,
want. It's not a matter of what I want and what
it
No,
is
it's
a
not.
matter
It's
of
not
what you
about what
not
you
to
want.
want.
Yeah,
say.
it's the why.
I'm saying
I'm explaining your
that there are
reasoning for using the terminology. Yeah, I'm explaining your reasoning for using your terminology. So it is a matter of why, because when I came in, what I was trying to do was explain why you're using the terminology you're using. So it's actually exactly pertinent, you stupid fuck. So shut up and let me finish what I was saying. So the
because you're
reason that
citing
John
behavioral
doesn't want to say it,
motivation.
so
You're
the
citing
reason that
behavioral
John doesn't
motivation of which is false.
Stop. I'm
You're
trying to
citing
explain.
behavioral
I'm
motivation,
trying
sir,
to
as to
explain
why I have the
look,
position I do.
Maybe
it's not
somebody
about
else
the
could mute
position that you
John.
have.
That
It's
characterization
not
is
about the
false,
position
sir.
that
Josh
you
can't do
have.
it.
It's not about the position that you have.
It is
It's not
about the
about the position that
position
you
I
have.
have,
It's about
sir.
why you want to use the terms you
No,
want to use. No, it's about why you want to use the
I
terms
reject that.
that you want to use.
Yeah, I reject that. It is
Look,
about the position.
I'm explaining my motivations right now, you stupid fuck.
Yeah.
I don't care if you reject what my explicit motivations are. That's not going to change just because
Right.
you're in denial of fucking reality. I'm
Right.
explaining why I'm piping up right now. So shut the fuck up and let me finish what I'm fucking saying.
You have no
Right, so the
basis by
reason
which
that
to assign behavioral motive.
shut the fuck. All right, so look, the reason that John Lee doesn't want to say it is because he thinks that saying God causes evil is that God is that makes God responsible for evil. And so the reason that we don't want to say that in the parents' case is that why we think the parents are not culpable is because we don't think that the parents intended to give birth to the person in order to raise a serial killer. Now, if we did think that the parents intended to birth the child in order to create a serial killer that they in fact created, then we would say that they caused the serial killer or whatever, that they caused
And would hold
the
them
deaths.
culpable.
Now,
Yeah, we
may
would
I
cause the
respond to that
deaths of those.
nonsense?
Stop.
No.
Are you done?
Stop.
No.
No. Stupid fuck.
Go ahead and
So the reason,
bloviate then. Go ahead. Tell me when you're done.
So okay, but so that's the reason that that's the disanalogous property with what we're talking about when Jack was saying, that's why, we don't want to call it a cause or whatever. We don't want to say these people caused the murders, even though technically under Jack's definition they are murders. You just don't even understand the way terms are being used. But that's just besides the point. Nevertheless, it can't be the case. This is disanalogous with God. So God still isn't the cause in the sense that you're using it, because nothing comes about that God does not intend to come about. On your view. Right. On your view, everything that occurs, God intends to occur, and so God is responsible for everything, including evil.
Correct.
May I respond now?
Very good.
Yes. Yeah, so
you fucked up, John, right?
I'm not allowed
Of course
to
you are.
respond.
Of course you are, but you know you fucked up,
please
John.
Please mute
You
up,
said,
please.
well,
please
no,
mute
I'm
up
actually
so I can respond.
Well, no, I'm going to say something before you respond.
Please mute up so I can respond,
No,
sir.
I'm going to say something before you respond.
Oh,
you said,
okay. This is how it goes. Okay, go ahead. Tell me when you're done.
Yeah, you said that God is the primary cause. But when you say that God is the primary cause, he's the primary cause for what?
So in response, I'm just going to ignore your comment, JJ. But
you're just going to ignore it. Well, your answer is to everything, right? God is the primary cause for everything, right?
In response to what Josh was saying, right?
Sexually related to what Josh was saying.
At no point did I say want. You're signing want, right? It's as stupid as someone without any training in psychology or anything of the soft sciences to say that.
What are you responding to?
May I finish? So it's like saying that a person wants
finish what?
to
What are you responding
God,
to?
May I finish, sir? If a person wants to believe in God,
I thought you were going to respond to what Josh's point was.
They're afraid of hell. And so what you're signing is what's called a behavioral motivation. You have no training whatsoever in psychology.
What does this have to do with the disanalogy of the parents? And so what I'm saying is, you said it has nothing to do. Sir, may I speak? My goodness. Okay. Well, nobody's supposed to hear you talk about something that's not the topic.
I'm actually responding substantively to every point. I practically took mental notes as to what Josh was saying and waited until he was finished.
Practically took mental notes.
And so I would like to respond to what he's saying. Listen, are you guys going to allow this, mods? I literally... So, no, I'm not going to respond to you, JJ. I'm trying to respond to what Josh said.
No, Josh's point with the analogy of the parents.
His point was that this is what, right? And he
said the analogy of the parents.
That is not her. So he also said it is not based upon my position. Of course it is based upon my position with regard to the logical consideration, irrespective of my opinion. This is what you suppose, and you have absolutely no basis by which you have no skills in observation. You're not trained. You're not a psychologist. You have no basis by which to assign behavioral motivation other than to offer your opinion as to why I don't want, quote unquote, right?
You're a lunatic, John.
It is the case that the position
we observe it every day.
It is the case that the position itself.
John, how do you get out of that straitjacket every morning?
I don't even understand why this is going on, right? If you guys are going to, I'll tell you what. I've attempted numerous times. You're allowing. I literally tried to listen while Josh bloviated. I try to listen intently to the points he was making, and I'm trying to respond to the nonsensical points that he's making. I'm not allowed to do that. So it's either the case you guys are going to allow me to do that or not. If you're not going to allow me to do that,
no, I'm not going to allow you to do that. I'm going to mute you because you're fucking you're off on the meta. And when
I'm not off on the meta. I'm actually trying to.
Sorry, I'm muting you again. You're off on the meta. So when I said that you want to do this, I was actually accurately characterizing your position. You don't want to say that God causes evil, and the reason that you don't want to say that God causes evil. So you do. Okay, the alternative is that you do want to say that God causes evil.
That's a false dichotomy. So that's another false dichotomy, sir.
You either want to say it or it's not the case that you want to say it. Which is it?
It is neither the case that want or it is the case that want is not involved in this.
Do you want to say it or do you not want to say it?
Sir, you're making the assumption of want and not want. Want is not
you either want to say it or it's not the case that you want to say it. And I'm saying it's not the case that you want to say it, right? That's what I'm saying. So it's either the case that you want to say it or it's not the case that you want to say it. Which is it?
No, I'm saying it's neither the case that I want nor want not. That is what I'm saying, sir.
I didn't
it is
say
neither
the
case.
I said you don't want.
So clearly I provided a third option.
So if you reject that it's not all right, this is so stupid. There's no third option. Either you want to say that God causes evil or you don't want to say it's the case that God causes evil. Now, which is it?
Yeah, you're assuming that wants are even necessary in this consideration. want and want
Do you want to
not.
say it or not?
There's not a true dichotomy.
What the
because
fuck?
if it's neither the want or not, then that is a viable third option, sir.
I can't handle
and
it.
so you guys do this all the
If
time.
I'm in this room, I'm gonna move him down. Does anybody want to like?
Yeah, because you're dishonest and you don't want to be exposed for your dishonesty. I let you speak your nonsense.
Before I move this
just keep muting him.
I let you speak your nonsense. You're not letting.
Yeah,
just mute him. Just him.
It is a false dichotomy.
Before I move this asshole down.
It is a false dichotomy.
Just
keep muting him.
Down,
it is a false dichotomy.
Before I move this asshole down,
just keep muting him.
Want to? Yeah, I'm just want to know. Does anybody want to continue this conversation? Because if
wait, Josh, give me mods. Give me mods.
You're pretending You're pretending if you don't want.
Just mute him.
If you want, then it's the case that
John
you
Lee,
don't
you're
want.
An idiot.
That's a false dichotomy.
John Lee, you're a fucking idiot.
It says I don't do X. All that means, right, is that they don't do X. Right. It doesn't say that they do Y, or that they do something else, or like that doesn't follow from the statement. It's not part of the meaning of the statement either. So like when I say that I don't eat meat, it doesn't mean that I eat something else that's not meat. It doesn't entail by that I eat something else that's not meat.
And
when I say
yeah. But you do agree, Detroiter, is if the case is that if the person asks, do you or ought you do this, right? And let's say the answer is no, right? It is not the case. It is not honest to say. Therefore, you're saying you ought to not do this because it implies an ought, and that was the original discussion with ought. I don't know why he's including want.
Of course,
right?
Of course,
that was not the original discussion, and you're so stupid that you don't even remember.
Josh,
ought was the original discussion, whether you remember or not.
So it's either the case that you want to say it, or it's not the case that you want to say it. Which is it? So it's either the case that you want to say it, or it's not the case that you want to say it. Which is it?
Yeah, but the dichotomy that was set up by Josh's response was a true dichotomy. It was just whether you do want to do it or do not want to do it. Right? You said it was false that you don't want to do it, so you do want to do it. Right? That was a fair inference. Of course, it's correct that want X, the denial of want X is not.
I'll give you an
example.
I'll give you an example.
It's just
okay, Detroiter, you want to say X. You want to say not X. You neither want to say X nor not X.
Yeah.
And so when you use the word want there, and you try to imply there's a want X and a want not X.
Third
right?
option is not a want, right?
That's what I'm saying.
When
you assume a want, what I was telling Josh is that there is no want in this scenario, right? There's no reason to assume.
The point was that the original statement that you denied was that you denied the case that you didn't want X, right? And so the denial of not wanting X is wanting X. That's the point that Josh was trying to make.
No. What he's saying was that what he's trying to imply was if it is not the case that I want, it is the case that I want not.
No, that's not what he said.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what he's saying.
When I listened to
so it's either the case that you want to say it, or it's not the case that you want to say it. Which is it?
No.
So it's either the case that you want to say it, or it's not the case that you want to say it. Which is it?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that it's either the case that I'm holding a pen or I'm not holding a pen. And he was like arguing against it. Like, what? He's like, do you have your hand open or closed? I was like, what? What difference does it make? It was just the most bizarre interaction.
Yeah, John did the same thing yesterday or 2 days ago when I said you either want to say this or it's not the case you want to say this. He said that's a false dichotomy because he's a moron.
John, come on.
Yeah, if there's no wants involved, then it's not want, not.
Yeah, so that would mean
so
it's not the case that
option.
you want to do
false
it.
dichotomy.
Yeah, so it means it's not the case that you want to do that.
That's there's no wanting. There's no wanting. You're taking the second option.
And besides, it wasn't about.
Yeah, if it's not the case,
besides,
that you
it
want
was not
something,
about want.
that's
It
right.
was about should or ought. Actually, and so the question was
Yeah,
ought
snivel,
or ought
snivel
not.
harder. Snivel
And what I
harder,
said
John.
was that ought is not included necessarily, and so it is not the case that it's ought or ought.
I mean, we're just getting
ought is not included necessarily.
You're so stupid. You don't even know what the fucking discussion was about.
Oh,
Shut
yeah.
up, John.
John did that to me this morning as well, didn't you, John?
Yeah, shut the fuck
John,
up,
you have
John.
you have serious.
It's like when Tom says, like,
problems
if you
in your brain.
Yeah, it's like when an atheist says, like, if you don't claim there's no God, you're claiming there's a God. There's no claims necessarily involved. It's not you either claim or not claim, right? There's a God. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's either the claim that it's either the case that you're claiming that God exists or you're not claiming that.
No. The dichotomy is you're either claiming there is a God or you're claiming there is not a God. That's
not what
the
I said.
absurdity
I
of it.
said you don't
Claim
want
is not
to say
necessarily
something.
entailed.
Yeah,
that's not what Josh said.
When they say the same thing about ought, it's the same thing. It's not the case necessarily that claim, ought, should, want, all these things are necessarily included. It's an old atheist trick that goes back 20 plus years. It's pathetic.
It's an old atheist trick.
The law of excluded mill is an old atheist trick. You're a stupid fuck.
John, you're right. It is an old atheist
trick.
The
law of excluded mill does
you're
not
too
apply.
You're too smart to fall for it anymore. Good job,
John.
Now some people say it's the oldest trick in the book.
Look at you guys. You guys are already over talking. Yeah, so the law of excluded middle does not apply.
I'm already
to
over talking you, over talking me.
dilemmas.
That's right.
Yeah, over talking.
Good job.
John, are you a dial atheist?
Yeah, fuck you, John.
John, are you a dial atheist? John, are you a dial atheist?
I'm not, Billy.
Okay, so you accept the law of excluded middle. Oh, sorry, the law of non-contradiction.
Of course.
Okay, great. So you accept true dichotomies.
I do not.
What?
So it is the case.
Oh no! Wait!
So it is the case that you're a dial
atheist. I'm sorry. I do accept true dichotomies. Yes. But
okay, great.
Yeah, no, I didn't understand what you said.
So is it not the case?
So in the case of true dichotomies, Billy, there is a thing called false dichotomies, right? And this is what you guys have been doing. In a sense of Tom, Josh, hopefully not you, Billy, but there are false dilemmas.
Yeah, what was the false dichotomy? What was the false dichotomy we presented, John?
He says, ought you do something? And I told him that ought is not implied because
that's not even a dichotomy.
If it's not the case that someone ought to do something, he's saying you ought not do it. Okay, that's a false dichotomy.
John, I'm not talking
no one said that.
Look, I said
I'm telling you that is a false dichotomy that this honest character, Josh, attempted yesterday. And what I'm saying is he's pretending still today that it's a dichotomy. It is not a dichotomy, Billy.
I said it's either.
He's not pretending anything.
It's either the case that you want to do something, or it's not the case that you want to do it, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said is a false dichotomy because you're a fucking idiot, and it doesn't have anything to do with odds or whatever.
What you said, sir. Now you're changing it.
Look, stop.
You
fucking
said
no, I never changed it. I asked
you ought to do it,
is there
or
fucking
you
replay,
ought
you piece of
not
shit?
do it, sir. This
No,
is
I
what
didn't
you
say
said.
that.
You said you ought to do it, or you ought not do it.
No.
That's what
Somebody
you
just
said,
mute John.
We do save replays.
What was said was you don't want to say, and then I was going to proceed on to what you didn't want to say, and then you said that was a mischaracterization. And so I asked you, okay, so, well, I'll just figure it out. Do you want to say this? And you said it was a false dichotomy for me to say either you want to say this or it's not the case you want to say this. That's what you said was a false dichotomy because you're a fucking idiot.
So it had to do with thoughts, and once again you were caught red-handed trying to present a false dichotomy.
What's the false dichotomy, you fucking idiot?
Ought and ought not. That is a false dichotomy.
I'm not talking about oughts. I talked about what you want to do. I said you want to say this, or it's not the case you want to say this. How many times do I have to fucking say what the dichotomy is before you understand it?
Yeah, so if you want to present it as want and want not, right? This is a dichotomy
No,
you're
I
presenting.
didn't say want not.
Besides, it wasn't even about want, by the way. It was about ought.
No, it wasn't. You fucking... God, you're so stupid, John. It's like incredible how fucking stupid you are.
John, do you agree that it's a true dichotomy to say that you either want to do something or it's not the case you want to do something?
No, that's not a false dichotomy, Bill.
Yeah, okay, so what
I said... so that's a true dichotomy.
So then it's a true dichotomy?
I said is you don't want to say that God causes evil. That's what I said. I said you don't want to say that God causes evil. Then I was going to go on to explain the reason
vernacular,
you don't want to say, stop over-talking me. No, I said you don't want to say this. That's all I said. That means it's not the case that you want to say this.
Once again,
and then when I asked you, okay, oh my God, you're so fucking stupid.
Once again, sir, don't want represents want not.
No, it doesn't. I said you don't want to say this. It's not the case that you want to say
For
this.
the third time, don't want represents want not.
Oh my God, you're so stupid.
This is why I question John's language.
He just said don't want represents want not.
That's correct. Unless you're saying you lack a want, that would be a different understanding rather than don't want.
Look, either
don't want does not represent lacking want, sir.
All I was saying was whether I said the reason that you don't want
there you
to
go.
say something that it's not the case. That it's not the
don't
case.
Don't want equals want not.
Stop
also, it seems
over-talking
no.
me, you stupid fuck. Jesus fucking Christ.
Don't want
He's
is
not agreeing with you.
He's just...
He just needs to get his fucking legs
don't want
off. There's no reason to keep him around.
Yeah, Altoid's not agreeing with you. Altoid's just representing you correctly.
Okay.
Altoid thinks you're a moron, John.
If he's...
I think you're a fucking idiot, John.
That would be correct. Don't want is want not.
Dude, your mic is so loud, John.
If one says I
that's
lack,
not true. Don't want is want
if,
not.
If a person
you might
says I
just
lack
be ambivalent.
the want, it is not synonymous with don't want. Once again, don't want does not mean lacking want.
Oh, what?
Do not want
does not mean lacking want?
Yes, it's just like I don't think. I don't think does not represent lacking thinking. It's thinking not.
What is a true dichotomy on your view, John?
It is not a true dichotomy.
On your view,
want and don't want.
Somebody move John down because this is just a waste of time.
Not yet. We're close.
A proper true dichotomy is want.
John.
And an absence
John,
of want.
John, listen. If I don't want, if I do not want you to talk,
you want me not to talk.
John, you're not listening.
You want me not to talk, sir. That's what that represents.
If I do not want
English.
you to, if I do not want you to talk, do I lack the want for you to talk?
Well, that does not necessarily imply that you want me not to talk.
What the fuck, you fucking moron.
Which is different. Which is different than
if I do not don't want you to talk, do I lack the want for you to talk?
It is not the case that you lack the want for me to talk. Do you understand that? And so when you say the lack of wanting, which is different than don't want,
clip this, please.
Right? Yeah. So in other words, yes, it is correct that if you don't want, you lack the want to, but you do not lack the want for the inverse, and therefore do. So in other words,
professional help,
don't want is not wanting, okay? And yes, it is the case that you do lack the alternative of wanting necessarily.
Are you satisfied, Josh?
There's a lacking of a kind of want, a particular.
Just like where he stands. Just have like one of those fucking blades, like in fucking Wild
This is
Wild
not
West,
even.
that was coming after fucking Will Smith's neck.
Yeah, this is.
Only straight for his fucking legs, where he stands. I want to watch his fucking torso hit the ground. This is infuriating.
I only have so much power. What can I do?
So now,
John, how do you make it out of the straitjacket every morning?
That I guess.
that I lack the belief. What it represents is that I believe in God.
What?
Oh,
it's not even difficult. Don't want and want not. Don't eat,
God,
right?
John.
Is eat not, right?
Stop.
It's not that difficult. It's not a lack of eating, for example,
Bro,
right?
You're
If
done.
I don't
What
eat
is a genuine
vegetables,
dichotomy?
it's not the case that I'm lacking eating. It's
You know
the
what a
case that
genuine
I'm
what is a
I'm
genuine
lacking the
dichotomy?
eating of a
What is a
particular
genuine dichotomy?
food.
What is a genuine dichotomy?
as no vegetable.
What is a genuine dichotomy? What is an example of that?
P and not P.
Yeah,
But
so
then
you
what
want,
you're
or it's
saying
not
is
the case
P.
that you want.
Yeah, what you're saying is P not. That's not the same thing.
I mean, I think the Steelman.
Wrecked, White Ranger, wrecked.
What are you talking about?
I think the
That
Steelman
was
of what
probably a
John
little
is
bit
saying,
weird.
John,
No,
one
that was
second.
probably a little bit
said,
stated. It's a little bit weird, but
locution. Well, I'll use the same locution, right? Either pants exist or pants don't exist. What's the false dichotomy there?
there is no false dichotomy there.
Yes, that's the same thing. Either you want this or you don't want this.
No,
Yeah,
that's not the case.
but what John is saying,
They're mutually
No.
Because hang on. If it's the case,
and
right.
mutually exhaustive.
Break
Right? You
out the
understand
tard helmet for this.
There is no,
What a genuine
And
dichotomy
so
is.
about the want, right?
in the entire world
Than John Lee. It's the true dichotomy.
It's a genuine dichotomy.
It's either the case that you want it or you lack the want of it. That's the true dichotomy.
Yeah, or you don't want it, right? Either you want it or you don't want it.
No, because when you don't want it, you want not.
English.
No, that's not a dichotomy.
You guys
It's the
don't
first
know
time I've
basic
actually wanted
English.
to go
Not
into
exhaustive.
Donald's room
Not
rather
exhaustive.
than this room.
They have to be
look,
mutually
I think John has.
and mutually
This
exhaustive.
is just basic
Understand
English.
that?
This is literally basic.
Oh, is it?
Eighth
No, shut your mouth.
grade
Listen,
English
chump.
grammar.
So I think there's a Steelman of what John is saying, right? He's basically saying that in common parlance, if someone says, I don't want X, like, it's not reasonable. Like, generally, we don't assume that he just doesn't care. It means that he actively dislikes X, right? He wants it to be not
Thank
the case
you.
that X. And,
Thank
I
you.
mean,
Yeah, but then like
I mean, I
when
would say,
we ask
fine,
about like
let's
it
just
being
take
the case
the Steelman. Hold on. Why are you doing? First of all, Deepak, fuck you. Why are you doing this? But second of all,
why not?
fine.
Yeah.
Let's
Gotta
just
make
take
your job harder,
let's
right?
just take the Steelman seriously, right? What that would mean that John's ambivalent about saying that he doesn't care whether or not he says it is what he doesn't care about saying is whether or not God causes suffering. But the whole point of the conversation, God causes evil. The whole point of the conversation is because he didn't want to say that God causes suffering. He wanted not to say that God causes suffering.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Why would you say God doesn't cause suffering? Of course God causes suffering. When a tornado comes and it's an act of God and there's suffering, it's asinine to say that God does not cause that suffering. What are you even talking about?
I said you want not to say that God causes evil, right?
Well, evil now is a different story. You said suffering, sir.
I reformulated it right when I said suffering.
Moving the goalposts. Once again, you were caught moving the goalposts earlier today.
Did someone fucking
what
clip
desire, right? Greater desire. I mean, you have a very bad habit of moving the goalposts, especially
John, you're being a thug. You're being a thug.
Right after I said it, you stupid fuck. You're such a dishonest fuck. Does anyone
you
have
literally
that
said desire, greater desire.
Can someone
and now you said
play
mostly. And so clearly you're dishonest and you're being exposed right now.
I'm dishonest. This is just unfucking real. I swear to God. You think that John Lee is trolling me?
Probably.
Why not just think he's the most dishonest fuck that ever existed?
You're the one being exposed as dishonest, moving goalposts, specially pleading.
I never moved any goalpost, you dumb fuck.
I just gave you 2 examples, sir. Would you like to address them?
You never said anything that I cared. So I said, at first I misspoke and I said suffering, and then I corrected it while I was in mid-speech. Stop talking. While I was in mid-speech, I corrected it and said, what I meant to say is, you want to not say that God causes evil.
No, God.
That's what you want to not say.
Did John just say specially pleading?
You changed.
He said that before.
Yeah, he did.
Changed it.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't change it. He misspoke the first time about suffering.
Oh, now
and then he
John,
corrected himself
pleading.
immediately and said evil.
John.
Now he might have misspoke again, but it's pretty clear that that's what he was referring to, which was the conversation you had yesterday about not wanting to say that God causes evil. That's what the conversation was about yesterday. And it's true. You don't want to say that.
To want not, that is not correct, sir. And so with regard to suffering,
John Lee.
right? He's saying suffering. I correct it.
John,
we're not talking about suffering. No,
John, you
no.
understand the genuine
dichotomies. John, we're not talking about suffering. John, we're not talking about suffering. The conversation is about you don't want to say God causes evil. That's true, right?
I'll tell you what, if I'm muted, I don't have to respond. I mean, I'm not going to put up with you guys continually muting me. Already about 20 times.
You worship an evil.
Are you trying to respond while somebody else is still asking you the question?
No, sir. I'm not. I'm actually. I waited for Josh to finish, and as soon as I try to respond, you guys are muting me.
Are you going to respond to how you don't want to say that
I would like to respond.
Causes evil? I don't know why you're. See, you got to be muted when you start speaking. When somebody else, else is still speaking, John Lee, I'm speaking.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
There's no reason you should be. There's no reason you should be unmuted and speaking while somebody else is still speaking.
Yeah, that was.
A lot of sniveling, John Lee.
Sean, what the fuck?